Well, when I got out of college, I was a probation officer, and I always had good jobs, like counseling kind of jobs and things like that. That's the only kind of work I ever did, So I always had good jobs. And then we had like a little antique business, where I bought and sold antiques, So I always made pretty good money, to take care of my family. And like Mary always worked. My kids' names are Cleotha Drake, Chris Drake, and Hannah Drake. I was a pretty strict father. I was real controlling, and I was a real authoritative figure in my home, but no nonsense kind of dad. I was married for 19 years and 9 months. I got divorced in 1988. My ex-wife did the best thing that she could do, and that was to get away from me, and she should have did it a long time ago. She shouldn't have waited 20 years, So I made her life miserable. I was miserable, and my kids were probably miserable, and it was good that she got away when she did. Probably should have did it sooner. I think it had to do with, like my insecurity, my abusive nature as a man toward my wife. I've always been abusive to people, not just my wife, but to people in general. My whole life has been one as an abuser. You know what I'm saying?
Now, see, because I know Cleo, we've probably known each other about 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the gentle Cleo, the spiritual Cleo. And it just blows my mind to think of the abusive Cleo, the criminal Cleo. It's like, I don't know that Cleo,
Yeah, well, but see, and I'm glad you didn't. And you probably glad you didn't know him either, But you see, God has all power in his hands, Greg, And he can do with us what he will, And he's done with Cleotha what he wanted to do, And I'm not like it anymore. I'm not like it today. People fear something that they know nothing about. On my job, what I do primarily is I do assessments, and basically I try to connect people to services that they need, such as alcohol and drug treatment, health services, mental health services, housing. My style basically is I get to know them pretty well. I spend like a lot of time with them, one-on-one, and we talk about things the same as you and I would talk about. We talk about our families. We talk about things they've been through and things they want to do. Their hopes, things they want to achieve. We talk about those kind of things, and we talk about how we can get those things done, and like what kind of help we need to do them. And the biggest misconception that I think is that they're losers, they're no good, they're hopeless, there's no sense in bothering with them, That's just not true. That's just not the case, They're no different than you and I. Everybody that's homeless is not a drug addict. They're not alcoholics just because they're homeless. I'm sure, and it's true that alcoholism and like drug addiction has contributed to like a lot of people being without a home, but there's so many other reasons for people to be homeless. Some people get burned out and have to go to the shelter. Some may lose a job suddenly, get fired or something. Some people develop mental illnesses, and have to end up wandering the street, end up in the shelter, Some women with families, kids, things are hiding from an abusive husband. Some young girls hiding from abusive relatives and have nowhere to go but a shelter. It's an endless amount of reasons for someone to be without a home. I really don't believe that any situation is hopeless. I just don't. Hope doesn't belong to me. Hope has always been present, and it always will be. And in God and our Father, You know, he is hope. You know, so he is. Always has been, always will be. So how can I look at any situation and say, well, that's hopeless if I believe in God? You know, he's about hope. You know, so in every situation, there's hope because he's there, right in the midst of it all. You know, so.
Mr. Drake, I know that your son Chris has a good voice. Is there anything you want to sing for us?
Man, I tell you. Oh, God. Now look, if my sugar Willow was here, we would hit you too.
You're not going to do one for me?
No, great, but if my honey bunny was here, we would sing you a song.
Who is Joanne, by the way?
Oh, she's a real good friend of mine. It's been a joy being with her, sharing with her, loving with her. She's just a blessing. She's my best friend, man.
What was the most you've ever weighed?
I weighed 5-something.
What do you weigh today?
I weighed 3-something.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
How has weight affected your life much?
It affected me greatly. It did. Mm-hmm.
In what ways?
Well, you know, when you are super heavy, it's just normal things you can't do. You know, you have they call low self-esteem. You know, you know what I mean? It's just so many things that evolve around, you know, that obesity that, you know, impacts your life. You know, just normal things like you can't get up, walk to the corner, man. You know what I mean? You go take a bath, you get tired from taking a bath.
How did you lose all that weight?
How did I lose that weight? Man, I'm glad you asked me that. You know how I did it? This is going to sound crazy to you. I obey God. You know, just obeying him and not obeying Cleotha. You know, weight started to come off, man. Simple, it really is as simple as that.
How did you do it, Cleo? How did you come from your rough past and get to a college degree and a good job? How did that all come about?
You better ask Jesus. I really don't know. Sometimes, man, I have looked at my life and I have literally believed that it was a dream. I was high. It was an hallucination. I was still messed up, you know? I mean, you know, and today I know, again, only by his grace and mercy. Only because of him, I did those good things I've done. I just think there's nothing else I can say responsible for it. It certainly wasn't me. I was a saboteur. You know, I was a messer upper. You know, I mean, it only could have been him.
Then I look down the line and I wonder, and I wonder, and I wonder. I look down the line and I wonder, just to see how far that I was from God. Oh, the line looks so sad and lonesome, sad and lonesome, sad and lonesome. Oh, the line looks so sad and lonesome, just to see how far that I was from God. Then I buckle up my shoes and I started, and I started, God knows, and I started. I just buckled up my shoes and I started, just to see how far that I was from God. then I lose